With Fontaine right around the corner, here are some things I hope to see during the version 4 update. I have a few things to say for both gameplay and lore/story-wise, so let's get to it. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to subscribe and thank you for watching. Gameplay-wise, map update. Genshin is getting bigger and bigger with each map expansion, so here are some things I think they could do to improve the map. First, add more pins. Increasing the number of pins will help us mark important locations more conveniently. It's been a while since they've increased it, and we've gotten a lot more regions since, so we have a lot more things to pin down. Them increasing the pins would be so much more convenient. Second, an underground map. With Fontaine quite possibly having an underground sewer area, I am hoping they make an in-game underground map for all the underground areas we have, like the ruins in the Sumeru Desert. We already have an underground map in the interactive map, but we don't have one in-game, so I hope they incorporate that into the game as soon as possible. Increased adventure level. Increased AR. I am currently in level 56, which I think is the average for anyone who's been playing for a while, and more people are reaching level 60, so being able to progress further and reach higher adventure ranks would be exciting to see, and this would provide ongoing goals for players, giving them an incentive to play every day and progress their account. This can also be accompanied with monsters getting harder and more ways for us to improve our characters, accompanied by improved rewards to make the journey even more, rewarding. Artifact loadouts. You've probably heard of this one multiple times, but that makes sense. There are so many different builds people want to try out, and not having loadouts makes it so much harder since you would have to find the artifacts every time you want to build a character a certain way. Me personally, I don't have or want multiple builds for most of my characters, except for my Traveler, and my personal way of combating this is by having placeholders. For example, if I want to build the Traveler in all his elements, I would just give a different character his specific elemental artifacts. Like, his animal artifacts will be on either Sucrose or Hazel, his Geo ones will be on Goro, Electro ones will be on Lisa or Kujosara, Dendro ones will be on Kole or Yao Yao, and his Hydro one can be on Candace. I try to use characters that I don't play with as often for the placeholders, so if the artifacts don't match their playstyle, it doesn't affect me too much. But just in case I want to use them, I try my best to make sure the character that I'm using fits the artifacts. Being able to save and switch between different artifact builds for characters would greatly enhance the flexibility and convenience of experimentation between builds, so I hope MiHoYo adds an artifact loadout. Different weapon types and combat system. We have characters who use their fists now, Dia and Hazel. I think Hazel also uses his feet, a combination of kicks and punches. Maybe we can get more characters who use more martial arts based fighting styles. There are many different types of martial arts all over different cultures, so it's not like they're limited for inspiration. Weapon-wise, I want different designs for weapons. I want different looking weapons. For example, you know how catalysts don't always just look like books and circular orbs? Like, some of them look different, like Miko's one, Nahida's one, and the Wanderer's one, something like that. Like a sword that doesn't necessarily look like a sword. A claymore that doesn't necessarily look like a claymore. A bow that doesn't necessarily look like your typical bow. It could be like a crossbow. Like, the claymores could be like clubs and maces. The bows can become like crossbows or any other form of long-ranged weapon. There's a lot of different ways. There are different types of weapons for each category. I hope HoYoverse uses this opportunity, because in Fontaine is like a, renovate and a very technologically advanced place. They would have different types of weapons and different ways of protecting themselves. I hope we get new weapon types and new combat systems, just new fighting styles in general. Hazel was very refreshing. We haven't gotten something that fun in a while, in my opinion, so I hope we get something fun like that in Fontaine. Expedition Dispatch. Having to place each character in the expedition pack one by one, though not the hardest thing in the world, and it doesn't take that long, it takes less than a minute, it's still an unnecessary evil that would be remedied with an automatic dispatch button. Fix the Serenity Teapot. I know not a lot of people use it, but enough people use it. Unlike the CCG, enough people actually use it for it to be deserving of a meaningful update. For those who enjoy the Serenity Teapot feature, it would be wonderful to see a meaningful update, like removing limitations such as the load maximum, which would allow players to truly unleash their creativity and personalize their world-building experience. Weapon refinements. When we have to refine weapons in Genshin, we have to do them one by one. Now, is it hard? No. Is it annoying and unnecessary? Absolutely. They could just make it so that you can refine it all at once instead of doing it one by one. Glider. Wouldn't gliding be fast? Gliding is in fact much faster. At least I don't think it is. It feels so slow, and I feel like they really need to improve on the gliding system and make it actually faster, or at least feel faster. I understand that it isn't a jetpack or a motor-powered wings, but I still find myself rather running than gliding most of the time. Skip button. Though I am someone who enjoys most of Genshin's story, and I tend to not skip dialogue unless it's like something that's being repeated, like a commission, the same cannot be said for other people or those who've already gone through the story but have multiple accounts. So even if they did enjoy the story, they probably don't want to go through it over and over again. Giving players a chance to skip certain dialogue would be helpful. Not everyone wants to read story. Understandably, Genshin has a lot of dialogue. When it comes to quality of life updates in Genshin, they are pretty few and far between. We don't get them much, and even when they do, they're pretty far apart. Hopefully we get more quality of life updates in the upcoming version. Now, let's start with lore. There's a lot in this list, and it really doesn't all have to be in Fontaine. I have high hopes for this region, especially after their much-needed improvement in the story that was presented in Sumeru. Fatui betrayal. I want someone to betray the Fatui. Wanderer doesn't count, though I'm sure he plans on getting revenge on what Dottore did to him. Considering they don't remember him, like, none of them remember him, it really isn't betrayal, it is just revenge. I want to say child, since he's the closest to us so far, but considering how he worships the Sarisa and how that will most probably put his family in danger, I doubt he will betray the Fatui. One of the Harbingers betraying the Fatui would be a good plotline depending on how Hoyoverse decides to go on about it. Them betraying the Fatui does not mean they necessarily have to be on the Traveler's side. I don't want a Harbinger who betrays the Fatui just because the Traveler has convinced them to be good. No, none of that. I actually want them to continue hating the Traveler even after they betrayed the Fatui, because that'd be so much more interesting. We typically have its Harbingers versus the Traveler. Honestly, like Harbingers versus other Harbingers versus the Traveler. Makes it much more interesting. I don't care how they do it. I just want to see the Harbingers fight against each other. A playable character that challenges the Traveler. I know Child exists, but he isn't exactly threatening. And I know the Wanderer also exists. Again, not threatening. The Traveler is a pretty likable person for the most part. So for someone to not like him will be a good change of pace. I want someone who genuinely hates the Traveler, like despises, can't stand them. Whether it's like a petty thing or an actual life-threatening thing, depends on Hoyoverse. The Traveler opening up about their sibling and their past to someone, anyone, I'll take anyone. The Wall. The characters I'd like to see it with is like either Zhongli, Yoimiya, Nahida, Diluc, or Kaya, since those people seem the most likely to listen or understand what he's going through, as they too have lost people or are just very good listeners. Considering the twins are the main characters of this story and they're not just self-inserts, we know basically nothing about them, and I would really like either an entire event dedicated to him or an interlude quest with Dainsleif where we talk about our past. Speaking of Dainsleif, I'm hoping the version 4 Dainsleif quest is a lot longer than the Carry Bear quest. The Carry Bear quest, though, was good and we learned a lot from it, was so short, and the man was there for like less than 10 minutes. Heck, less than 5 minutes. So I hope the new Dainsleif quest in version 4 is better, or at least longer, than the Carry Bear quest. Venti's second story quest. It has been prolonged for so long, it has to be good. Something major better happen in it, or else all this waiting would have been for nothing. He's literally the first Archon we get, and Yoimiya, a random 5-star, well not random, but a random 5-star, gets a second story quest before he does. So hopefully MiHoYo is whipping up something great, and all of us are just gonna fall in love with it, and it's gonna be like a new standard for story quests. Maybe his story quest will reveal where Dormant Port is and the Dandelion Sea and the release of Farka. Maybe, hopefully, probably not, but I'm hoping it does explore the Hexen Circle more. I want to learn more about these witches, and preferably through an actual quest in the game and not a limited time event that newer players won't be able to access. Also, I hope they release a Hexen Circle video the same way they did for the Fatui one, and if they are going to, if they're going to follow in the footsteps of the Fatui video they're gonna release it maybe next month for the Fontaine update, because that's when the Fatui one came out. It came out before the Sumeru update, like we were in 2.8 and it came out. I'm hoping we get like something like that again. Improving certain character relationships, like Diluc and Kaya's relationship. They're brothers. We all know that. They had problems in the past. We know that. I need them to make up. An event always story quests. Also, Kaya's getting a hangout event. I'm not sure if you know that, but Kaya's getting a hangout event in 3.8. Hopefully we get to see some Kaya and Diluc interactions, and that isn't them fighting with each other. I know they have their problems, and I know they have their issues. Just need them to get along. Because if they don't get along quickly, I feel like Mihoyo is just gonna end up doing the, oh, they're not gonna apologize to each other until one of them is dying trope. It's such an annoying trope in my opinion. I like it, it tugs at my heartstrings, but it's still, no, I don't want to see them die before they make up. Gina and Barbara, I guess, I mean, they don't really have a lot of interactions, though they are like siblings, like blood, they're related by blood. Their parents have divorced, and Gina was raised by their mom, and Barbara was raised by their dad, who, to my surprise, is still alive. He's with Barbara, apparently. I need to see them come together. Maybe like a sibling event in Genshin, where all the siblings come together and do sibling things. We've been getting more and more character interactions, and I just want them to keep it up and delve deeper into it, and like maybe make it permanent content instead of a random event that anyone who wasn't playing at that time isn't gonna see. Last but not least, more about Paimon. Like, unlike also like the Traveler, despite the fact that we spent so much time with Paimon, we know basically close to nothing. Actually, we know nothing about Paimon. Everything we know about this girl is like speculations and theories and guessing, and the Paimon gluttony jokes are starting to feel like they're hinting at something. Like Mihoyo is winking at us every time they mention the fact that she likes eating or likes consuming things. Like, is she a bottomless hole-like entity that can consume all in her path or something? Is it like that? Is that what they're hinting at? Anyways, Fontaine is going to be great. The trailer, though a little underwhelming in my opinion, showed me all I needed to see to be excited for the region. And I can't wait for 3.8. It looks fun. Hopefully we get some Eula lore. And 4.0 will come out, and Fontaine will be great, will be wonderful. I'm hoping. Sumeru was great. It beat all my expectations. I'm hoping Fontaine does the same. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you whenever. Bye bye!